Hello and welcome to episode 117. Just checking. Fun fact. When I lived in the dorm during my uni years, I lived in room 117. So, just whenever the number pops into my head, or gets mentioned, that's the first thing I think of. That's my room number. Lived there for 5 years? 6 years? 5-ish, 6-ish years? We're not talking about my uni days, or dorm room days, or any of that. We're talking knitting, I was about to say spinning, I don't spin, knitting and sewing. Let's stick to those two, you know, the ones I actually sort of know how to do. And yeah, I hope you've been well. I have concert envy, and I was just listening to music, setting this up, and I was listening to Lizzo. What do you want to bet that this is Charlotte? Because we've been messaging back and forth, and it is. I think she's enjoying herself on her holiday. Let's just say hello, Charlotte, and you're on the podcast. Let's just turn off the sound. There we go. Anyway, I have major concert envy because Lizzo was playing at Blackhil festival yesterday evening, I think, and my friend Camilla Snapchatted me from the concert. I don't do tents and camping, and therefore I don't really do festivals. But that doesn't mean I can't be envious that I wasn't there. I know. Anyway. Don't know why I feel so stiff today. It's been like this all morning. Slept okay. Just feel stiff. Right, knitting. I don't have a whole lot to show you this week. The first thing I have to show you is, well, I've just finished the second skein of yarn on my Sunday tee. Now, this is where I was last week, and it doesn't look like a whole lot of knitting from here to there. But this is simply train knitting. I've not done anything other than knit on the train on this. And, well, as I said, I ran out of yarn. In the sense that I used up the second skein, not that I actually ran out of yarn. There are some extra ends hanging out, because there's here one of the toys split. I had a knot somewhere, I think. No, maybe it was on my other project I had a knot. Yeah, it might be. So, just left a tail here, a double tail. Just held out a piece and continued knitting on, so I'll just weave those two ends in later. I am almost done with the ribbing part of this. It's a little hard to see because we are on a short needle, but it is getting close to the point, closer to the point where I need to separate for the sleeves and the body, and then I can continue on knitting in stockinette, which will be easier to actually do I might actually do the sleeves first. Don't know. I used to have the pattern right here, but it's not here right now. Wonder where it is. Anyway, I don't remember if this is supposed to be quarter length or full length, half length sleeve. I think they might only be half length, which is what I'm planning on doing anyway. So wouldn't take too long to knit the sleeves, but it's easier to knit the sleeves when you don't have the entire bulk of the body to turn. On the other hand, having yarn attached to the body and knitting the sleeves at the same time gets a bit annoying too. This is CottonWool. It's not in here. It's CottonWool by Gammerson. It's the Blackhil CottonWool in the colorway Ishau or Ishau. I think it's just Ishau. So yeah. And it's actually cooled down, so I could be wearing this, you know, if it was actually finished. So that should be motivation to finish it. Also because I think this would be a nice layer to bring to Iceland, where it's only supposed to be around 10 to 15 degrees when we go. And you know, Iceland, knitting, kind of goes together. So yeah. First project on, moving my marker up, and hopefully you'll see more progress on this next week. There we go. And the progress marker here is a Polaroid camera, and it's by Hook and Light, which is an Etsy shop. So yeah, that's one thing I've been working on. The other thing I've been working on is my Jenny Flower by Julie Paris. Why can't I speak? Julie knits in Paris. Well, actually probably Julia. The pattern is called Jenny Flower. It is a striped summer top layering piece. You can see it's very open. I'm knitting to gauge on yarn similar to what's recommended. This here are 2 skeins of Avril 100% pure silk. Don't know if it has a name. The tag is in Japanese. Bought in Kyoto 9 years ago, this October. And it's a light fingering lace weight yarn. And it produces this really nice, cool, open texture. So I will be wearing a tank top underneath because, you know, modesty. I have my little whale that keeps flipping over. Let's see if I can get him to... No, he keeps wanting to flip over. Come on. Again, I think this might be Hook and Light. Not sure. There he is. Come on. And as you can see, I've done a fair bit of knitting since last time. Again, the needle is too short, but as you can see, we're getting close to separating for the sleeve and body here too. I need to do another repeat of this and then another eyelet row, and then you split a couple of rows after that. The eyelets almost match the eyelets on the Kastellet, which I am wearing. It's a pattern brought forth by Filcolana. You can find it for free on their website in both Danish, English and probably German or something, maybe. And that is the back that you just saw. Back and front are the same. It's a round yoke, so back and front are the same. Yeah, not a whole lot to say. The yarn is a bit dead to work with. It is silk, it doesn't have any give. It's not like working with a wool yarn where you have some give. And because it's on small needles, these are 3.5mm needles, and you have tiny thin yarn. I don't know why I'm calling it tiny thin yarn, because this is actually the weight of yarn and the needles that I am, well, a heavier weight of yarn, but the needle size that I am most used to using. So it does mean when you're as fabulous as I am that you have to do a lot of stitches around to cover all of this. So yeah, it takes a while to knit it on 3.5mm needles. That's a US, what, 5? Something like that? 4. The 5 is, what, the 3.75? I don't know. Really looking forward to having this floppy light thing done. I think these are only, I'm not sure these are 100 gram skeins. I think they are only 50 gram skeins. It's just that they run a whole lot of meters per weight unit. I am going to, as soon as I've split and knit a bit of the body, I'm going to pull out the middle of each skein, no, of the blue one, which is my A colour. Going to pull out the middle of this one and knit the sleeve edges. Much like this, it's just a couple of rows of stockinette, and then you do the ribbing. So it'll be similar to this, only I think it'll sit slightly lower, because I think the body is, or the entire piece is knit slightly longer. So, knitting, that's all of it. It is stash dash. I want to finish things because, well, I want to wear them. That's the main reason, but also because I want the points for stash dash, which is a competition by the Knit Girls. And really it's a competition with yourself, but you can measure yourself against others. So I have an internal competition with someone else from our Ravelry group, and I'm not sure she knows we're competing. Either way, she's kicking my butt at the moment. So, yay. Yeah. I registered a super secret project last week, so I think I am around the 6,000 to 7,000 meters mark, which is okay. I have all of July and most of August as well. So there you go. Now, I have something else to show you. Last week I showed you the pattern and fabric for the Charlie Caftan. And then I procrastinated a whole lot. I didn't knit, I just procrastinated. And then I finally got around to tracing out all the pattern pieces. Now, Sorry. The ClosetCase patterns are printed on tissue paper. I hate tissue paper with a passion. I tolerate it more than mohair, but yeah, it is what it is. But I traced out the pattern, size that I thought I needed, and the, you know, just like all knitters do swatch, gauge swatches, and all people who sew, of course, make a muslin to try on to adjust before they actually cut it. Well, other people do. This is not a tale of, I should have done a muslin. This is a tale of, hey, why do you need to do a muslin? I am far from finished. I say far from finished. It's not that much that I need. But this lovely viscose, which is by someone I can't remember, even though I read it I don't know how many times on the salvage edge. Look. Oh. Now, two things. Oh, this will be so great. And just imagine it with this for cooler days. I know. And that, by the way, was my love note in Kansas Ablaze Grand Marino DK Brexit. Anyway, I have finished the front. On the front you do a gabber and you do this little placket here, and in view C, which is a maxi length, I didn't do the maxi length, you add ties to define the waist. I'm doing view B, which is basically just a shorter version of view C, but it doesn't have the ties. I added the ties, and they are proper long, so I can actually wrap it around the back and tie a tiny little bow in the front. Even though my measurements said I should do the largest size, I'm doing the second largest size. And that is because there's a lot of ease built into this. And actually, let's just have, I did stay stitch the opening, so this won't be a problem. I could effectively just stop it right here. This is, yeah, not really, can't really tell on the screen, but it is actually fitting like a dress right now. I'm just going to tie the waist, because then I can show you by holding up my arms why it's, see, don't have a lot of ease here, that's okay, didn't want a lot of ease here, and that is basically what it will look like. The pattern envelope tells you that if you use the larger, wider fabrics, the 150 wide fabric, you only need 2.25 meters of fabric for, I think, the 3 largest sizes, and this goes up to a size 20 I'm doing a size 18, and when you go inside into the pattern itself, it says you need 2.3 meters. Why is there a difference? Why? Potentially you could be buying too little fabric. Now, the original pattern stops above the knee, not right above the knee, which I would have liked, but a bit above the knee. And so I thought, okay, I would prefer it to stop around the knee, keeping in mind that when you tie it up like this, you lose some of the length. If you go from something that goes straight down and you go whoop, in and down, you're going to lose that in part. That's common sense. So I thought, okay, I wanted to hit about the knee, preferably maybe a little below the knee, so just cupping the knee. How often do you talk about cupping the knee? But instead of just so yeah, I lengthened both the back and the front pieces by 10 centimeters. Now, if I'd been smart, I would have thought to myself, oh, hold on, if you elongate something by 10 centimeters but you buy the original amount of fabric, you might have a problem. I didn't think that. I just started pinning out the pieces, and then I thought, oh wait, I'm using 20 centimeters extra. Do I have 20 centimeters extra? Turns out I had exactly 20 centimeters extra if I didn't do the same direction on both pattern pieces, because both the front and the back in version B and C are cut on the fold. Turns out this fabric, which I thought was non-directional, is directional. Did I figure this out before I cut it? No, and I did spend some time actually looking. When did I find out? When I was hand stitching this panel here down and noticed, oh, there's a bird there. Oh crap, where's the bird? And do they all go the same direction? And there's a one direction point to be made here. I just don't know what it is. It does go in one direction on the pattern and on the fabric. On the front, they are all right side up. On the back, however, they're all right side down, or sideways, some of them are. So I am counting this as just being one of those quacks that you probably wouldn't notice. Yeah, I have birds sitting on their backs on my back. Now, you notice the inside placket thing here? Well, it's to cover the outside one, which is hiding the gasser rings. And when you look at the explanation in the booklet, it looks so complicated, and I was like, this is never going to work. I have this incredibly lively fabric that just, I mean, none of my cuttings are precise. They are as precise as I could, given that I have like 50 needles in everything. but they were never going to be 100% precise because of the fabric. And I knew this going in. I accepted this. Knowing the characteristics of the fabric, I French seamed it. It's because I like doing French seams. I like the clean look of them. And yeah. I found on the this is a ClosetCase pattern. On their blog, they actually showed how to do all the steps, explaining them and illustrating them with photos, clear photos of what you did every single step of the way with this. And they had an entire second post on doing the back one, because you can either do it by hand, as I did, just slip stitching it in place after pressing everything, or you can do it by machine, which is more fiddly, but they do give that option. And they also explain the V-neck facing that you have to put in. You might notice that I have some lines around the neck. That's just to show the seam. It is a friction pen, pilot friction pen mark I've used, so it'll go out with washing and heat and friction, which is just heat. So that's just to help me with the sewing, and in first place with stay stitching. So brilliant resource, even though they didn't do a sew along for this one. But yeah, I am over one of the harder parts, so yay for that. I have to do the sleeves, the side seams. The sides will have pockets, that's as per pattern, so that's just not me, or not just me putting pockets in everything. And then there's the hem, which now hits me well below the knee, so should hit me just below the knee when done. And hey presto, a loose, cool dress to wear for the weather we're not having. Well, it'll be great for the office as well. The flowiness, the relaxed fit, everything. I am more determined now than ever to make version A, again, longer length, in a more stiff fabric. And having done the placket now on this fabric, it'll be a breeze to go through on the other fabric, I'm sure of it. First of all, it's not a gather, it's a fold, 2 folds. So already there we have less that needs maneuvering into the machine. But yeah, Charlie Caftan in a lively, summery viscose, and I'm a little bit in love. So there you have it. That is everything. That is everything. So I will see you next week. Hope you have a great week. Bye.